Hello, my people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching from. Welcome to Tasien's class. This is Tasien, and I'm happy to see you here. If you are new on this channel, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you like our videos, share the video to your network so that the video will reach as many people as possible. Yeah, I hope you are doing well. If you are not doing well and you are struggling, please note that struggling does not mean that you are a failure. Struggling means successfully not giving up. So hold on and you will succeed. Okay, in today's presentation, I will talk about how to iterate in R programming using a for loop, and I will also talk about how to write conditions with if statement, else statement, if else, and else if statements. So if you are willing to learn, let's watch this video from start to the end. Yeah, so let's start by seeing how to iterate with the for loop. What is iteration in programming? Sometimes you may need to repeat the same procedure multiple times. So that way of working is called iteration. You want to repeat the same procedure, but the same procedure is repeated many times. Then that's iteration. So to do the iteration, we may use this for loop. But how is the for loop used? The syntax of for loop is, as you can see it here, we have the for, then parentheses, a variable in a vector. It's like you have to take a value from a given vector, and then you use these square brackets, and inside the square brackets you write your statement that you want to return, or you want to print, or you want to write there inside the brackets. That's it. That's the syntax. So let's take some examples, and let's suppose that we have a vector x, and the vector x is numbers, let's say numbers from 1 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We have this vector x here, and then we may want to compute the square of each element from this vector, and we can do it using a for loop because we want to repeat the same action. We want to repeat the calculation of square value from each value, each element from this vector x. So how do we do it? We write for, and then a space, parentheses, and let's say that we take I. In this case, I in what? In our vector x. This means what? This means that the value I replace an element, and the element from where? An element from the vector x. Then from each element of x, what do we want to do? What we want to do, we put it inside square brackets. Then let me write square brackets. Then inside these square brackets, we have to put a statement that we want to compute. We want to compute the square of the value. Then we want to print, for instance, I squared. The square is used, we use that sign, then square 2. We want to print the square of that value. Let's see how what we will have. Let me first print x here. We have x already in R, and then for I in x we print the square. You see, let me make it bigger here, more bigger. See, we get, what do we get? Sorry, we get like 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared, it's 9. 4 squared, 16. 5 squared, 25. 30 squared, 36. And 7 squared, 39. And finally, 8 squared, 64. So, you see? Yeah. We can do it like this, or another way to do it, we can write, let me type it up there in the script file. We can do the same thing like this, for I in 1 to length x. What does it mean? Here we mean we take indexes. This vector here is indexes, and those indexes goes from 1 to length of x. Length of x is the total number of elements in x. So then we take elements from 1 to the total number of elements in x, and we will take index. And what do we want? We want to print. What do we want to print? We want to print xi. What does it mean? It means from 1 to length a, we will take each element of index I, then squared. So this will do the same thing as before. Let me print it and see what we have. See, we get the same result here, down here. So this will also print the same thing. What is the difference between these two syntaxes? The only difference is that for this one, we take each element in x. That's why I in x, each element in x, then I compute its square. And in this one, I take each index, this I in these numbers, and these numbers are indexes of elements in x. That's why here I will compute xi, because I'm taking indexes. If I take I equal 1, then I will take x1. It means the first element in x. And if I is equal to 2, then x2. And x2, it will be the second element in x, in this case 2. Yeah, then squared. Yeah, that's the only difference. But these compute the same things. The same thing. Yeah, so that's in general how we use the for loop. That's the syntax and how we can use it. And we may also have nested for loops. And let me give you another another example. Let's take, for the example, we have x. We have our x here, and let me take another vector y. Another vector y of elements, let's say 1 and 2. And then I can make a nested loop like for I in x. I mean for n element in x, then our square bracket, and the statement inside the bracket here, instead of immediately put the statement, I can also use another for loop. Then for instance, j and j in y. In this case, for any element in this vector I. And what do I want to compute? I may need to compute now. I want to print, for instance, print I times j. What does this loop do? It will take an element in x here, then it will multiply those elements by elements in y. Let's print this and see what we will get. Let me first print y and then print that the for loop. What do I get? I get this. Yeah, so I get, if you remember x here, this x, it was elements from 1 to 8. So then we will take x in I in x. Let's start from the first element, and the first element was 1. Then 1, I will have to take 1 times this 1 here in y, it will be 1. And then I will have to take 1 again times 2, and then it will be 2. And then I will move to the second element in x, and the second element in x was 2. And then I will have to take 2 times j equal 1, it will be this 2. And 2 times j equal 2, it will be this 4. And so on. Then I will move to the third element, and the third element in x was 3. Then 3 times 1, it will be 2. 3 times 2, it will be 6. And so on. The next element was 4, and 4 times 1, then 4. 4 times 2, 8. Yeah. And so on up to the end. Yeah. So you see, you can have a nested loop of 4 nested loops, like one loop inside another one. That we need nested. One loop inside the other loop. So you see, that's how the for loop is used in R programming. Yeah. Yeah. So often you may need to execute some statements only when some condition is met. You can use the following statements in your code to do this. The if statement is used to execute a block of code if a specified condition is true. And the else statement is used to execute a block of code if the same condition is false. And the else if statement is used to specify a new condition to test if the first condition is false. And the if else function, the if else is not a statement, but it is a function built in R. And this function is used when to check the condition for every element of a given vector. So let's start by the if statement. The if statement syntax is, as you can see it here on the screen. We have if followed by parentheses, and the inside parentheses we have a condition. And what is the condition? The condition is an expression that evaluates true or false. And then after the condition we use the square brackets, and inside the square brackets we have to write our statement. It may be one or more statements, and that statements are the statements we have when the condition specified inside the parentheses is true. That's the general syntax. So let's see some examples. Let me clean this here. Yeah, let's take a value x equal, let me say, equal 5. I have x equal 5. And the if statement is in this, let's say if, then if parentheses, and inside the parentheses we put our condition. Let's say if x is, or I write k, if x is greater than 0, that's the condition. And then after writing the condition, I put the square brackets, and inside the square brackets I have to write what I want, the statement that I want, given that the condition is satisfied. For instance, if x is greater than 0, print the number is positive. Positive. The number is positive. And if I click enter, see, it prints the number is positive because x equal 5 and 5 is greater than 0. The condition is satisfied. Since the condition is satisfied, then R will print this statement that we have given here. Then it prints the number is positive. Yeah, we can also have the if condition inside the if condition. Yeah, if inside if. So let's see an example here. Let's now take x, let's say 8, and y equal to let's say 6, and z equals, let's say 5. And I have x equal to 8, y equal to 6, and z equal to 5. Let me write the if statement in the script here, and I can write if then the condition, as before, the condition should be inside parentheses. If x is greater than y, and then what is the statement? We can print x is greater than y. And then inside here we can add another if statement. Let's say if, then the condition, another condition, parentheses, if x is greater than z, and then print we can print x x is the smallest value. Yeah, like this. So you see we have the first if and then the second if inside the if. If I run this code, what will I get? I will get, the result is down here. I will get x is greater than y, and x is the smallest value. Why? Because our x value, x was 8, y was 6, and z was 5. So x is greater than y. That's true. That's why we have printed x is greater than y. And x, I mean this 8, is also greater than z. Here, the condition x greater than z is also true. Then we print x is the smallest value. That's why we have printed here x is the smallest value. So two if statements, one inside the other one. Yeah, that's the if statement. So let's go to the else statement. Let me clean this one. The else statement syntax is, as you can see it here on the screen. We have the if statement, and then the condition. If the condition is satisfied, we write the statement, and then else. It means if the condition is not satisfied, then we write a statement. Let me take one example here to show you how it works. For instance, let's take x equal 4 and y equal to 2, and then our if statement may be something like if, then the condition, if x is less than y, print the condition, we can print, for instance, x is less than y, and then immediately after this closing bracket we write else, and then we put our statement, we write our statement. The statement may be something like print what can we print? Well, then we print x is greater than y. So what does this mean? It means that R will check if this condition is satisfied. It will check if x is less than y. If the condition is true, R will print x is less than y. If the condition is false, R will print x is greater than y. So let's see. We have our x here and y, and then this if condition. It prints down here that x is greater than y. Why? Because it's obvious. X is greater than y. 4 is greater than 2. Yeah. So we use else statement to if we want to write a statement which we need to display when the condition that we have given in if statement is false. Yeah. The other syntax that we want to see today is the else if statement. As you can see on this syntax, we have multiple conditions. We have the if one condition, and we may need to define another condition. Then the new condition will go inside the else if, and then after that we may use else statement. Yeah, let's see one example. Let's take, for instance, x equal to 5 and y equal to y equal to 5. X and y are equal, and then we can, for instance, write, let me do it like this, and we can, for instance, write if, then the condition, the first condition, if x is greater than y, then the statement, we can print something, print x is greater than y, and this is the first condition. And then we may need to define another condition. The other condition will be the new condition will be like else if, then the condition else if, for instance, y greater than x, then we can print y is greater than x, and then after this immediately we can put the else, then we print x. We can print, for instance, for instance, x is equal to y. We have this. Yes, now you can see it where we have the first condition is this condition if x is greater than y, and then the new condition will be under the else if, then the new condition is y greater than x, and if this first condition is false and the second condition is false, then we will print this one. We will print that x is equal to y. If both condition, the condition in if and the condition in if else are false. Yeah, so let's see what is going to print. R will print x is equal to y, because we have of course x equal 5 and y equal 5, so it will check if x is greater than y, that's false. It will check also if y is greater than x, that's false. Then since those two conditions are false, then it prints the one in else statement, which is x is equal to y. So yeah, what if we have multiple conditions? We can combine multiple conditions in these statements, the else if and the else statement. And how do we combine multiple conditions? We combine multiple conditions using the logical operators. And remember the logical operators that I showed you last time in our last video. If you didn't watch our last video, go back to it and watch the logical operators, because when we want to combine here multiple conditions, we will use those operators, either the AND operator or the NOT operator. Let's for instance see one example. We have our x that was equal to 5, let's say 5, and we may have this condition statement. Let's say x, if x is less than 0 and do you remember the AND sign? AND connector, AND operator, and x less than 10, print the statement. We can print, for instance, print good. Let's see what R is going to do. We have our x equal to 5, and we have two conditions. We have that the first condition is that x should be less than 0, and the other condition is that x should be less than 10. Oh, this is incompatible. It's like obvious something is less than 0 and less than 10. The n number which is less than 0 is less than 10. Let's change a little bit there. Let's say greater than 0 here. Greater than 0 to make so that it makes sense. Yeah, greater than 0 and less than 10. Let's then print good. Yeah, so you see our R will print good because the two conditions are satisfied. Both this and this one. And what if we like change these two conditions? Let's say if x is less than 0, let's say less than 0, and or instead of using and, then we use or. Do you remember the or operator? It's this one. Or x less than, or x, let's say greater than 10. Print good. Let's see what R is going to do. Are these two conditions satisfied for the value x? Let's see. If I do this, our R is printing nothing here. So see, nothing is printed. Why? Because these two conditions, and no one of them is satisfied. But for instance, instead of having x greater than 10 here, then I put less than 10, and then I execute this code here. It will print good. You see, it's good. Why does it print good? Because this first condition is not satisfied because x is greater than 0, but this second condition is satisfied. So you see, if one of them, that's the work of or operator. So then it will print good. So you see, you may combine multiple conditions. You use the operators and or not. You remember the not? Okay. Yeah, so you see, we can like combine many conditions with inside one if statement or else. Yeah. So you see, these statements are very useful. Yeah, so the last thing that we want to see today is the if-else function. The if-else function. As I have told you, the if-else function is used when we want to go through all the elements of a vector. Yeah, so let's see how it works. For instance, let's say that I have a vector x, and the vector x is equal to, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let me add 10. Yes, we have this vector x, and we want to go through the elements. We want to go through the elements of this vector x, and if the element is an odd number, we want to return odd. If the element is an even number, we have to return even. So I don't know if every one of you knows what is an odd number and what is an even number. If you don't know it, ask Google. That's the very simple things. But the even number, when we take an even number divided by 2, the remaining will be 0. And if a number is not even and we divide it by 2, the remaining will be 1. So let's say that we want to identify those numbers. I classify them into those two categories, even and odd. So one can do like the statement is else, is if else. If else, and then in if else it's a function, then we have to use parentheses if else. Then what do we have to test? We have to test if x divided by, so like them say, the modulo is 2, modulo 2 equals 0. Then we have to like display, we have to also to add the what the error will return when this condition is satisfied, and what error will return when the condition is not satisfied. So in here says if else, we have what we are testing and the yes and the no. If yes, then write even. That's an even number. And then if yes, if no, then write odd, like this. Okay, so we have x here, x and this. So you see, what do we get? We get this. We get for x equal to 1, we have an odd value. X equal to 2, we have an even value. X equal to 3, odd. And so on. So you see, that's how the if else statement works. It goes through all the elements of the vector and then see if each element satisfies the condition that we are willing to check. So guys, are these statements useful for you? Is the for loop useful for you? It should be useful. Yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this presentation. If you have enjoyed, why not clicking like? Just like the video and share the video to your network. Yeah, that is support to us, and then to give us the courage to record more videos. So guys, if you like the video, click like and share the video to your network so that the video will reach as many people as possible. I hope to see you next time. Bye.